I'm going to show you guys every single recipe that I plan to make in the month of November. I always leave Tuesdays for a leftovers day. I feel like 'tis the season for chicken pot pies. It's so good. This recipe is so delicious. It's really hard to find a tomato soup recipe that does not call for cream or milk. I like eating seafood. I don't like cooking seafood. I gotta have a recipe to go off of. I can't just wing it. I'm not gonna wing it, but it's very time consuming. You will see when we make combo together. Another month of meals we are planning. I have already started writing out my monthly meal plan. I'm going through and just filling in stuff from last month that really worked for us that we're gonna reuse. We're gonna recycle again for the month of November, filling in days that we have events going on and we're not doing meals at home or whatnot. You know, it's November, so holidays and all that fun stuff. And I've already got somewhat of a list going, so I divide up all of my stuff into like the section of the store that it's in. It probably looks like just a hodgepodge to you, but I have everything memorized where it is. So at least at Winco. Winco is the place to go. So I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna pull out every recipe and I'm gonna show you guys every single recipe that I plan to make in the month of November. So let's get going and let's get organizing. I have my big, huge, giant recipe binder here that is a little overwhelming, but it works. I've got my big pile of recipes that I used last month that I need to file back away. So let's get organizing and then I will show you all the recipes. Here we go. All right, I think I've got pretty much everything filled in. Let's see, I'm missing 2 days towards the end of the month. That's gonna be creeping up on Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna leave those days blank and we'll just kind of wing it, or we'll have leftovers or whatever. I feel like towards the end of the month, the leftovers stack up and we just have to get through them, especially if we're having Thanksgiving and a big meal, along with some other activities that weekend. So I'm feeling pretty okay with this. So here's where we are for November. It's pretty well filled in. I always leave Tuesdays for a leftovers day. Tuesday is a busy activity day for us, so it just works to just pull out whatever's in the fridge and everybody eats what they want. So let me go through and show you each recipe I got. This is Heavenly Halibut from allrecipes.com. We're gonna be making this. This is gonna be the first week of November. Thank you. My brain is not working. So we got Heavenly Halibut for the first meal. I made this obviously a very long time ago, but I haven't made it since. I've had this recipe since 2014. So we have some halibut in the freezer. It needs to get used. A friend gave it to us. Very grateful for it. So I'm gonna go back to this tried and true recipe. So Heavenly Halibut. Then we're gonna do some venison burger bowls because we got that big deer that we processed a couple weeks ago now. So we have a ton of deer meat in the freezer. I'm not familiar with cooking deer, but I did have this recipe on hand because we bought some venison at the store once and tried it out. Really liked it. So we're just gonna make these venison burgers. I don't know where I got this recipe from. It calls for a pound of venison with spices, and then you put in lots of frozen grated butter, because venison you have to add more fat to it, otherwise it's too hard to eat. So you need to add fat. So we're gonna just make these patties and put them over a bowl of fries or potatoes or something like that. So we'll do that. Week 1, I also have that Costco chicken that is still going strong with us, and I've shredded it up and I'm gonna use some of it to make chicken pot pie. I have not made this in quite a while and I feel like 'tis the season for chicken pot pie. So this is from allrecipes.com. Chicken pot pie, I don't know, you do the Roman numerals there. What is that? Chicken pot pie 4? I forget if it's, you subtract from the front. Yeah, so it'd be chicken pot pie 4, right? I don't know, check my Roman numeral math. So I'll use this general recipe for the filling. It does call for milk, so I will probably substitute a non-dairy option. And then for the pie crust, I'm not sure which direction I'm going yet. I'm either going to use this easy gluten-free pie crust recipe from, what is this from? glutenfreepalette.com. So I could do that. Or I could do this sourdough pie crust from Farmhouse on Boone. So one of those two options will get used. Whatever I use will probably be a test run to see how well the pie crust holds up for a Thanksgiving pie, possibly. So don't know. We're winging it. We're also going to do pork chops. I have a lot of pork chops in the freezer, but I'm kind of sick of we have 2 tried and true pork chop like marinade recipes, and I think we're sick of them because the last time I made them were all like meh, not super excited. So I printed off a brand new one. This is Best Pork Chop Marinade by allrecipes.com. So we're gonna give this a go. It's it's I mean along the same lines of pretty much all pork chops, but the flavors are a little different. We'll give that a try. And then all these meals I usually make with a side of veggies of some kind or a side of carbs. Like for pork chops, we'll probably cook up potatoes and some sort of veggie to go with it. This is just like the main recipe I'm using, and then we'll add to it. We're going back to our egg roll in a bowl. We made that in October and it was so good. This recipe is so delicious. I know I keep raving about it, but it was so good, so good. And everybody in the family ate it without complaining, so that is so good. So this is the girlwhoateeverything.com egg roll in a bowl. It's so easy, so easy. Highly recommend. And then we're also going to do like a breakfast for dinner situation that week as well. So that's all the recipes for that week. Let's move on to week 2. This is a recipe I did not get to in October. I had it on my list, but it just didn't happen. I'm gonna butcher the name, pasta e fagioli, which means pasta and beans, apparently in Italian. This is a really good recipe. Where did I get this? Once Upon a Chef, the cookbook. I must have copied it out of a cookbook. So, Once Upon a Chef, I don't know, you can look it up. It's a really good recipe. Yeah, it's just an easy soup recipe that everybody really likes. So, starting the week off with that, and we'll probably have some fresh bread with it. We have salmon in the freezer, again, from friends. We are super lucky we got all this fresh seafood. So I had this recipe sitting in my recipe book. I have never tried it. Pan-seared salmon with quick hollandaise and crispy capers. It doesn't say what cookbook it's from. It looks like I copied it out of a cookbook. So I can't tell you where it's from, but we're gonna follow this general idea. I'm probably not gonna pan-sear it because I have a big long fillet of salmon. So I'll probably bake it, but I'll do the hollandaise sauce and like some crispy capers with it. That sounds good. Okay. We have blackened chicken. This is from allrecipes.com. Literally called blackened chicken. I've got some of that frozen chicken in the freezer, and we'll pull it out and use it for that. Burger bites. My son was a big fan of this when I made this. Gosh, I think it was in September the last time I did it. And it's literally just like mini meatballs with like cooked like burgers basically. And you can put it on like a toothpick with some tomato and lettuce and onion or whatever you usually like on your burger. So this is Out and In Burger Bites by WholeFoodFor7.com. So that's what we're doing then. And then I still have leftovers from this fake out pad thai recipe that I pulled out of a this is not the pad thai, this is the pad thai, so it's confusing because there's a big old picture of something else. Pulled out of a magazine, 2014. So we had enough ingredients that we could have done a double batch, but we didn't, so I'm going to use up what I have left this month on that. So we'll do that with some edamame from the freezer probably. And then we have a big event that week, so that's all the recipes for week 2. Week 3, here we go. We have, my husband had a grilled cheese sandwich a couple days ago and he's like, gosh, a bowl of tomato soup would be so good with this. Sorry, my kids are watching a movie in the other room. You can see it through the glass. So I was like, I should make tomato soup and grilled cheese. So we're definitely gonna do that. I have this from Once Upon a Chef, the cookbook also. Fiery roasted tomato basil soup. It's really hard to find a tomato soup recipe that does not call for cream or milk and still tastes good without the cream or milk. So this is this is what does that trick. I put 5 stars on it and I said yum whenever I made it last. So I try and make notes of like whether or not the recipe is worthy of being remade. So in this case, it must be. So we'll do tomato soup and grilled cheese. Penne and vodka sauce. This is from allrecipes.com. I've been making this for years, literal years. This calls for heavy whipping cream, but you sub out coconut cream in it and it's just as good. In my opinion, it's just as good. If you're like a hardcore dairy person, it's not going to be just as good to you, but you know, for us it works. So we'll do penne and vodka sauce with some veggies on the side, low carb and paleo kung pao chicken. This is from slenderkitchen.com. I made it a couple of times. It's been a while though. Just trying to mix up our taste buds here a bit. So give that a try again. Tuna. We have tuna in the freezer. Again, from friends. We have so much seafood in the freezer right now. So I'm trying to do one seafood night each week. We're not huge seafood people. I feel like when the seafood night comes around, I'm always like, oh, I really don't want to cook the seafood. I like eating seafood. I don't like cooking seafood. That's a thing. It's a very fine line. But my friend was raving to me about how they make a pan-seared tuna with everything bagel seasoning on it. So I found like just kind of a generic recipe for that. I gotta have a recipe to go off of. I can't just wing it. I'm not good at winging it. So this is from pbfingers.com, everything bagel seared tuna. So we're gonna give that a try and see how good that is. And then my husband, I promised my husband back in August for his birthday that I would make him a big batch of gumbo. It's like his favorite meal in the whole world, but it's very time consuming. You will see when we make gumbo together. And I never got around to doing it. August was really busy. And he commented the other day that I had not made it yet. So our wedding anniversary is coming up. So I'm gonna make it for that instead. So we have sausage gumbo. I actually have no idea where I got this recipe from. I've had it literally our whole marriage and I typed it out myself, so I must have like combined recipes. So it's my own recipe, I guess I'll call it. This is sausage gumbo. So good. Gonna do that labor intensive meal, but it's worth it. And then a cross rib roast. We did this last month and it turned out really good. So we're gonna do it again. This is food.com cross rib roast. Really basic. And then for the last week of the month, since it's Thanksgiving, I got a lot of holes in the meal plan, but we're gonna try venison tacos. I found a recipe for that, ground venison tacos. We're gonna do a ham dinner at some point that week, and the rest of it is kind of open for events, family get-togethers, all that kind of a thing. And then here is recipes that I just always have out ready to go because we use them every single month. I just have them in a stack off to the side. Gluten-free chocolate chip cookie recipe from Gluten-Free on a Shoestring. This is a really good one. Cinnamon roll in a mug. This is my own personal recipe. I'll put a link down to it on my blog, but my kids make this all the time. It's their go-to breakfast when we have all of the ingredients. Sourdough bread from Farmhouse on Boone, sourdough bagels from Farmhouse on Boone, homemade breakfast sausage. We make this at least once a month at some point when we're doing breakfast in the morning. And this is from allrecipe.com. It's just like a seasoning mix because all of our ground sausage that is in our freezer is not seasoned, so we just season it ourselves when we pull it out. Okay, now we just have to go through every recipe and write down the ingredients I need, and then I'm done. I'm almost done. Let me do that, and then I'll show you my grocery list that I've got and how long it is. We'll see how long it is. Okay. I think I've got most of it. I'm probably missing a few things. I'm gonna go walk through and look through my cupboards, and my pantry, and my fridge, and my freezer, and see, just make sure there's nothing else I'm forgetting that we might need. But this is it in all its glory. It probably looks so discombobulated, but it actually, there is a rhyme and reason to where I wrote everything. Yeah, so that's not as full of a grocery list as I anticipated. I basically don't need any meat. I need to get some andouille sausage and shrimp for the gumbo, and some pancetta for some meals, but otherwise I don't need any meat. So that's a huge thing off my list. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was some inspiration for you for some meals that you guys could try this month. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you when we start cooking. See you later. Bye.